What's up, sports fans? Back here with In the Huddle Podcast today. I know we haven't been putting out a lot of content lately, but we've been working on some stuff. We've been trying to launch a new blog, so we're going to get that up and running as soon as possible. And we're also going to try and make this a more regular thing.
Yeah, guys. So without any further ado, we're going to get right into it. We're going to talk about the NBA Finals. For those of y'all that don't know, it's currently 1-1. Golden State just wrapped up a Game 2 win on Sunday night, 109-104. They were led in that game by Steph Curry. By Klay Thompson, who had 25 points, and then Steph Curry had 23. What would you think of the game, man?
I think it was just the same old song for the Raptors. I mean, it was just kind of like over-relying on Kawhi, like late down the stretch. I mean, he's just taking uncharacteristic shots, like stuff that we didn't see him do in San Antonio, and it's just like, the more he tries to carry the team, I feel like the worse he plays. I feel like the more he plays within himself, and the better he is. And then also, just allowing an 18-point run on your own home floor is just inexcusable, especially in the finals. And if anything, I guess that's kind of bad on the Warriors too. Just like them only be able to win by 5 on a last second shot by Iggy to kind of give them the win, and it's kind of ridiculous that if they could have an 18-point run and still only win by 5. So I don't know. I guess the series is more up in the air than it has been these past few years.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell the Warriors are dealing with some injuries. You know, Iggy, who's been dealing with that leg injury since the start of the series. Klay Thompson went down in this game with a thigh or knee injury, something like that. And then DeMarcus Cousins, who actually had a pretty good game tonight, 11 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists in the start. But he's coming back from that quad injury. And then they got KD, who obviously we all know is out with that calf injury. They said there's a pretty decent chance that he could play in Game 3, though. So if he is able to go, what do you think? What are you expecting from him when he returns?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of difficult with KD because I feel like the Warriors system, the more I think about it, I think the Warriors system is better than its components, if you kind of know what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I feel like, it's kind of like, I guess I'm going to have to reference it to something that obviously I know better, but it's kind of like what people say about Pep Guardiola in soccer. Like, he's the best coach in the world, but he'd rather take a player that fits his system than a more talented player. And I feel like that's what kind of happens with KD, is it kind of like, since he's so good, like, the way he plays is kind of sometimes, I'm not going to say all the time, because obviously he's won 2 titles with them, but sometimes it's to the detriment of the team. Like, you feel like he's kind of holding back the system, not because of, like, he's not a good player or anything, but just because the way he plays and like, the kind of system he needs to be in, I feel like sometimes it's to the detriment of the team. So, I feel like, not that it would give the Raptors a better chance to win, but I feel like maybe the Raptors still have a good chance of getting some wins and maybe winning the series, even though a great player like KD is coming back.
Yeah, a lot to digest there. But, I definitely think that KD is a guy who can play within the Warriors system. It's just a matter of him finding that, happy medium between getting his ISOs and his touches and then also playing within the team system. Obviously, like you said, he's one of the greatest players in the world and probably one of the greatest scorers the game's ever seen. Let's be honest, he is. You know damn well he is.
Is he even the best scorer on his team?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you just look at his size, 7 foot tall, able to handle, shoot the three, get to the rim, pull up. He can pretty much do it all, I feel like, offensively.
What do you do against Chetty, though?
Probably gave him about 50.
All right, probably not. And what are you looking for going forward? I guess we can talk more about the Raptors since we kind of just talked about the Warriors. Like, what do the Raptors have to do to finally beat this dominant Warriors team?
I think the Raptors need to get back to like some of the stuff they were doing in Game 1, especially defensively. They did an excellent job of rotating and kind of closing out on. They did a good job of closing out on Steph and Klay and not really giving them the open threes that they were looking for. But then they also did a good job of not over-helping. They were still able to get out onto those other shooters for Golden State, not give anyone any opportunities to really play make or have clean opportunities to play make. So I think that'll be something for them to look forward to, or something that they need to get back to as the series shifts to Golden State. And then also, offensively, I really want to see what Marc Gasol is going to do for them. Game 1, he was really important for them, not necessarily scoring, although he did have 20 points and 7 rebounds, but I felt like his off-ball playmaking and like when Kawhi was getting doubled, he was doing a good job of finding open shooters and finding the next man. almost like how Draymond has made a career out of for the Warriors. Game 2, I feel like he was more limited than that. And also, he didn't score the ball nearly as well. Only had 6 points in that game. So Marc Gasol, I think, can be a nice barometer for Toronto to see how they're going to be playing as a team. What about you? What you looking for?
Well, going back to the things that you were saying defensively, I mean, a few years ago, people talked about, when you played the Thunder, though they had these two great players, KD and Russell Westbrook, people would just say, you know what, whoever, it was Russ, it was KD, and then they still had Serge Ibaka and Cephalosha, and then whoever that guy was that was playing the 2 or the 3, if KD was playing power forward, they're saying that guy's got to beat us.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe they should maybe try and employ some sort of defensive tactic like that? Like maybe say, okay, we're not going to let Clay or Steph or KD beat us, but Andre Iguodala is going to have to beat us, or Draymond Green's going to have to beat us, and then see how that goes? Or do you think they're just going to really have to match up man for man?
Yeah, I mean, I think naturally when you're playing against great scorers like Steph, KD, and Clay, you naturally are going to shift the defense towards them and then force guys like Andre and Draymond to play make, and they have both been key parts of everything that they've done, throughout this run they've been on. That's why they've been able to win championships, is because those guys have come up big in big moments. But yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see how Draymond, who has had a fantastic playoffs, averaging about 14, 10, and 8 assists, and playing fantastic defense. So I'll be interested to see if he's able to continue his scoring. But just one more side note for the series. Kevon Looney, who is backup center for the Warriors, is out now for the rest of the series with a couple of broken ribs that he suffered towards the middle part of Game 2.
Damn.
So, and this coming from someone who's had broken ribs before, that shit hurts. So I understand the pain that he's in. We wish him a speedy recovery. Any other quick thoughts that you have before we move on?
Yeah, I guess we talked about it earlier off the podcast, but I kind of wanted to see more from Danny Green this series. He's a player that's been in high-pressure situations like these for a lot of his career, playing for a great team like the Spurs,
Yeah.
And so I feel like though players like Siakam or Kyle Lowry might not be able to step up in moments like these because they've never been there, I feel like Danny Green really needs to step up, because these are moments that he's kind of made his career off of, like hitting big shots at big times in big games.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off what you said, Danny Green in the first 2 games, 5 of 12 from 3, and is only averaging 9 points. So definitely look for him to step up. Look for him to get around 15 if the Raptors are going to have any chance. But can we get a quick prediction from you before we move on? At least for these next 2 games in Golden State, how you think they're going to end up?
I think they're going to split them just like they did in Toronto.
Okay. I'm gonna say Golden State wins both, because I think KD's going to return, and he's going to give them too much firepower on offense. So I'm saying it'll be 3-1 when they go back to Toronto. Ethan's saying 2-2. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and kind of pivot to our next topic, which is going to be some NFL draft stuff. NFL draft was about a month ago, I guess. The players just ended OTAs a little while ago.
Or Ottas.
Yeah, or Ottas. Who are some guys that you want to highlight that you think will be able to make big impacts this year as rookies?
Well, I think a guy that I guess was getting clowned, but I think still can make a big impact on his team is Daniel Jones. I don't know if it's going to be a big positive impact, but I just think the fact that Eli is so terrible is just like he's just not ready to play, or not ready, but he's just not like fit to play NFL football anymore. They're just going to realize. Well, when they're 0-6, they're just going to realize, hey, well, we're going to lose anyway, so we might as well lose with a guy that's going to be with us for the next 15 years than lose with a guy that is going to be with us for another year or two. So I feel like once their season sort of starts to go down the drain, I feel like within around like weeks like 7 to 10, I feel like Daniel Jones could definitely get a look and get some starts, and if not, at least get some substitute appearances. When they're getting blown out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the Giants know that this upcoming season is going to be tough for them if they're planning on starting Eli and having him play full 16. So they are in for a lot. Another guy, I want to highlight. Not not necessarily so much the impact that he's going to have, but just I think his team is going to be much improved this year. Is going to be Nick Bosa, the defensive end from Ohio State. He was selected second. Was pretty much the number one prospect throughout the whole process, but you know how they do with the quarterbacks. They bump them up, so that's what gave Kyler Murray the nod at number one. And I think Nick Bosa really has a chance to come in and have an outstanding impact as a rookie. He's going to be rushing the passer opposite of D Ford, who we all know has been a guy who has been able to wreak havoc in the NFL, so he's going to be seeing a lot of the pressure, give Nick Bosa more one-on-one opportunities. I think he could have a really big year.
Mm-hmm. I think another guy that went a little later in the draft that I thought was interesting was Christian Wilkins the one that was suspended for...
No, that was Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, exactly. I thought Christian Wilkins, he just looked like a giant among boys out there, again, in the national championship game against Alabama.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just me, if he just had a crazy game or whatever, but he just the stuff he was able to do. I mean, Alabama had no run game up the middle whatsoever. It was all, going around or going to the other side when he was on. I mean, he was just, and this is against the top offensive line, one of the top offensive lines in the country, against Alabama. So, if you're able to do it on a stage like that, I mean, I feel like him at 13 for Miami, I think that's going to be a great pick for them, looking back.
Yeah, I mean, that whole Clemson defensive line I feel like they were all so dominant as individual players that they overshadowed each other. Mm-hmm. So it kind of caused them all to drop. I know a lot of people who, that segues into a guy I also want to talk about, which is Cleveland Ferrell, who was picked fourth. A lot of people are really killing that pick for Oakland. I'm pretty sure Oakland's switching into a primary 4-3 base next year, and I like Ferrell as a 4-3 defensive end. I know he is not necessarily, he wasn't a guy who was that highly touted coming out. His name was never talked about in the top 5. Maybe a little bit of buzz for top 10, but not really much. But I think he could be a guy who could come in, maybe produce some sacks. Oakland needs pass rushers ever since they got rid of Khalil Mack. They were dead last in the league in sacks last year. So I think he could have a decent impact this year for them.
Another guy that I really wanted to touch on because he's been hyped up ever since that they've had the combine is DK Metcalf.
Yep.
A guy whose stock that I'm really just not buying, honestly.
Really?
He just when I've seen him play, and it's just every time I've seen him play, it just seems like the kind of like a typical college, a great college player to not great NFL player thing, where it's he's just so damn athletic that it really doesn't matter how he runs his routes or what he does off the ball or whatever. It's just, since he's so big and fast and strong, that he's gonna be able to make that catch whenever he wants to, and that's not really gonna be able to work in the NFL. Not only because people are physically better in the NFL, but also because they're freak athletes like that all the time, and they're able to be stopped just by great defensive schemes and by great one-on-one corners. And I just feel like especially a quarterback like Russell Wilson needs better route runners because he's so very accurate, rather than someone that he can just throw the ball deep to.
Yeah, I mean, kind of to go along with that, I saw DK Metcalf go up against Greedy Williams this past year. As y'all know, I'm an LSU fan, so I watch all their games. Shout out to Greedy, who got drafted 46 by the Browns. But Greedy Williams was really able to control DK Metcalf. I think he only had 2 or 3 catches in the game where they played against each other, and that was kind of the best. To me, that was the best competition that DK played all year as far as just one-on-one matchup, because Greedy was covering all throughout the field. And he wasn't really able to create separation at all. So I do think he might struggle with that early. I know he's got the size, the speed. If he's able to put it all together and get a lot crisper with his route running, I do think he'll have a chance to be a really good receiver, especially in their offense, because they're dying for receivers. But I think he'll be a project, especially in the beginning. But maybe let's go to the later rounds. Possibly a guy who maybe you might think could be a sleeper, or a guy who you think was a steal in the later rounds. Anyone you want to hit on specifically?
I don't know if this person was a steal, but I just think that a player like I'm looking at these quarterbacks, and which is the position I tend to know the most about, and I'm just looking at these guys, and it's just I see what they did in college, but I just don't think a lot of it can transition over to the NFL. So I think a lot of the the quarterback, like, for example, Jarrett Stidham. I guess I saw some, tools from him, but, like, every time I saw Auburn play, they just looked like they're relying on athletes rather than their passing game. And then Will Grier, I mean, he can't really throw. He doesn't have very good arm strength. You know, he's throwing balls, and he's kind of just like, they're taking like 4 or 5 seconds to get to their target. And it's just like, so it's difficult. I mean, I guess Drew Lock is probably the only one, even though he's not a late round pick, he is a second round quarterback who's not expected to start. So I think maybe he, kind of like Daniel Jones, could maybe make an impact later in the season, because Joe Flacco, he's kind of been taking the same amount of criticism as Eli Manning these past few years, just like ever since Kiko Alonso knocked him the hell out. He really hasn't been a quarterback that can really make your team compete in the National Football League. And I think that while Drew Lock isn't that right now, I saw him play against Texas in I think it was the Texas Bowl 2 years ago, and just like having those pieces that you can build off of behind a quarterback like Joe Flacco, who has played in big games at least, and he can learn something from. I mean, he has a lot of tools. Like, there are a lot of times where he's playing against us where he's just throwing darts just straight through our secondary and our linebackers, and he's throwing these balls that aren't taking those 4 or 5 seconds to drop like they are for Will Grier. They're just 2 seconds. They're right into the receiver's hands. And that's what you need, is if he can just develop that timing in his decision making. I feel like he can be a good starting quarterback. Maybe not this year, but maybe in the next 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Locke showed a lot in college, was a 4-year starter, so he definitely has a lot of tape and was playing a lot early. Played a lot early while he was at Missouri, so he's gonna be a guy who is not gonna be rattled when he goes into the NFL system. Obviously, it's a new game and it's gonna be a new system that he's gonna learn, but he will be more than ready. One guy who I want to talk about, who I want to highlight as a late sleeper pick, is Terry Beckner Jr. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, this dude he's a defensive tackle from Missouri who was drafted with the 215th pick by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This guy was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. I believe he was number 2 overall in his class. Went to Missouri, really didn't work out. Played way too inconsistently at Missouri. Kind of put things together towards the end of his senior year. Had a really good Senior Bowl week from everything that I heard. Obviously, I don't have any scouts telling me this or anything, but this is just what the national media was talking about. And so I feel like he had a pretty good Senior Bowl week, and I think he could just end up being a guy who was a late bloomer, who can end up coming on to the NFL scene. And, Tampa Bay, they lost Gerald McCoy. I know they signed Ndamukong Suh for 1 year, but I think Terry Beckner could be a guy who they could possibly have as a long-term replacement for him. But with that being said, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap up the NFL draft portion of this.
I don't think so.
We got one more.
There's one thing that we have to talk about.
We got one more topic that Ethan is dying to bring up. Go ahead, boss.
And that is, how will Kyler Murray be in his first season?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I don't love Kyler Murray, and it's more than just the fact that he's 5'10". I think just the 1 year as a starter really scares you. The only other experience he has was at Texas A&M, where he looked shaky at best. So I don't know, how he's gonna translate. I know they're saying the system is gonna be perfect for him, but I just have to see it. I think he'll be able to survive, obviously, in the NFL, but I think his first year is going to be rough, especially if they don't have an offensive line or any playmakers that are going to be able to do anything for them.
And I also thought that for him especially, I mean, I'd be scared just in the way that they treated a talent like Josh Rosen. Though Josh Rosen wasn't great in his first year, he kind of stacked up to the other rookie starters like Sam Darnold and Josh Allen as far as numbers go. And in the way that they were just able to just pass him off just for the next guy, like I'd be kind of worried about him, or for him. Like, who are they to say that next year, say in the college football season, the quarterback like
Justin Herbert
or a Sam Ellinger doesn't have a great breakout.
Probably not Sam Ellinger.
Sam Ellinger has more rushing touchdowns than Tim Tebow or Vince Young ever. So Run that back. And passing, but continue. I'm just kidding. Well, he does, but I'm not kidding about that. But yeah. So let's say a quarterback like that has a breakout year. well, are they going to move on to a quarterback like that just as fast as they moved on from Josh Rosen? I mean, it'll just be kind of interesting to see how Cliff Kingsbury is able to really cement his system, like a college system, even maybe not even like a college system. I mean, it kind of looks more like a high school system when he's playing it at Texas Tech when he's going 6-6 every year and somehow gets an NFL head coaching job. But anyway, just to play that spread out game, I think while it is going to suit Kyler Murray in theory, I think that a lot of the times, especially by like the later weeks in the season, that defenses are going to be able to figure that out. And they're such great athletes that Kyler Murray, while he is a great athlete as well, he's not going to be able to blow them out of the water like he did in college.
Definitely agree with everything that you said. I'm really surprised at I'm really going to be interested to see how Cliff Kingsbury's system works more than anything with that team. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and switch over to our new segment, which is the culture topic. This is going to be one sports-related thing that we're going to do at the end of each pod.
Non-sports-related thing.
Non-sports-related thing we're going to do at the end of each episode, kind of loosen things up a bit. Today's topic is top 5 fast food restaurants. We both kind of compiled our list, and now we're going to go ahead.
We're both very passionate about.
We're going to start at 5, work our way up to 1, and we're just going to go back and forth with our top 5. So, I'll let you go ahead and start off with your number 5 pick.
I'm going to start up with Chick-fil-A at 5. And honestly, the only thing holding Chick-fil-A back, it's not open on Sundays. And Sunday's just that one day where, like, you don't do anything, and then it's around, like, 3 or 4 o'clock, and you just look around, you're like, damn, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And then you look around and you're like, well, I know it's not open, and that's Chick-fil-A. So that's what's really holding Chick-fil-A back for me personally.
Yeah, I think for the record, they're not in my top 5, but just the thing that's crazy about them is how much money they're still able to make, even though they're not open on Sunday, which, like you said, is a day where they could probably generate so much more money. But
even if they just did it like one Sunday a month or something crazy, like actually, me and somebody were talking about this the other day, and it was. Like, why don't they just have Chick-fil-A open, like, at 3, like, after church, or, like, 1, like, after church?
Yeah,
like,
wouldn't be a bad idea.
I say it could still be, like, a church thing, like, go to church in the morning and then come get some Chick-fil-A, but I don't know, maybe it's trying to keep people from not working on the Lord's Day or whatever it is, but, you know, that's what I would do if I owned Chick-fil-A.
Not a bad idea. Now going into my number 5, I got Wendy's. You know, Wendy's is that...
You like Wendy's?
I actually do like Wendy's. Wendy's is that restaurant that fast food spot that open late, 2, 3 in the morning. Sometimes you just go in there. They've really upped their status, I feel like, since they got that 4 for $4.
The 4 for $4 has really brought it way up on everybody's power rankings.
Because before that, I just feel like they were still good, but they were just kind of too expensive. Like, you didn't want to spend $8 on that combo, but you didn't want to just get like one item. So that 4 for $4. You got to get that crispy chicken BLT, though.
Yes.
That crispy chicken BLT is crazy.
And also, Wendy's is kind of like one of those places where it kind of gets lost for some reason. Like, when people talk about fast food, they don't really like, you want to get, they're like, you want to go get some McDonald's, you want to go get some Cookout, or get some Taco Bell. Actually, people don't say Taco Bell because they hate on it, but whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
but
like you said.
like, no one really thinks about Wendy's for some reason.
Yeah, it is hella slept on. But we're trying to bring Wendy's back, so... Now I'm going to go ahead. We're going to do snake draft for this, so I'm going to go ahead and pick again. My number 4 is Boston Market. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, Boston Market, that's for old people. Fuck that. Boston Market is literally crazy. I've been going there since I was a kid. Their mac and cheese is on point.
Yes. That corkscrew mac and cheese is crazy.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. It's just that they got that I don't know if it's because it's that spirally mac and cheese that makes it taste better, but...
But you are an advocate of the idea that different color or different texture pastas taste different.
Oh yeah, no doubt, 100%. That's a known fact. But yeah, Boston Market. You got the meatloaf, the cornbread. If you disrespect Boston Market's cornbread, let me know. Just drop your address in the description or in the comment section or whatever, so that way I can just come fight you, because that's the best cornbread there is. And their meatloaf, crazy.
Meatloaf is underrated. I hated meatloaf, and then I had the junk at Boston Market. It actually is insane.
Exactly. So, and yeah, so I'm just advocating for Boston Market, man. If y'all haven't been there, give it a try. Whatever. Ethan, what's your number 4?
My number 4 might be a little controversial because some people might not consider it fast food, but Chipotle. I mean, it's just like, It's honestly probably the best Mexican non-sit-down place you could have. But people be like, oh, this isn't authentic, this isn't that, this isn't whatever. And it's just like, I don't care. I hate it when people, and that's the argument for, like, why a restaurant sucks. It's like, they use fake meat, and it's not authentic.
Well, I don't
and
give a damn if it's authentic. That shit tastes good.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, and Chipotle is also, like, one of those places where it's like, people don't really think of it as fast food because you kind of, like, have to go in and give your order. Kind of like Subway, but I don't know. I could get it fast, and if I'm hungry, shit, I might have to go get something tonight. You know, you gotta get that. If you're rolling Dolly, you gotta go half chicken, half steak. But if you're rolling with a shorty, then you just gotta go straight chicken because you gotta save that money. No drink.
Oh, I feel that. A major key for Chipotle, and I can't lie, Ethan put me onto this. Got to get that bowl with that tortilla on the side.
Bowl with the tortilla on the side. That's just underrated, bro.
Exactly.
God. Unfortunately, I got put on by CNU men's soccer to that, so.
Damn. Well, I'm going to just give you credit for it.
Yeah, well. And then my number 3, this is going to make a lot of people mad. That's McDonald's, all right?
It's an OG spot.
I'm tired of people disrespecting McDonald's, man. Like, when McDonald's, I'm not going to say when it first came out, but like 10 years ago, people was all over McDonald's. Like, it was like, yo, I'm trying to go to good McDouble, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, oh, bro, you eating McDonald's? Like, oh, you're disgusting. Like, I don't know why people hate McDonald's. Like, they're if you get a double cheeseburger ketchup only, it's over. Or plain, like Chase says.
Yeah, that double cheeseburger from McDonald's, when it's got that cheese that's like half melted but half still on it, kind of, and you got that ketchup, good God almighty, that thing will put you to sleep in about 2 seconds.
And them fries, if they bring those fries straight out of the little fryer, it's over.
Yeah, and don't sleep on that apple pie from McDonald's. That apple pie to top things off is crazy. Moving into my number 3, I got Popeyes. Popeyes, that's the best fried chicken spot. I like it better than Bojangles, Church's. Whoa. Damn sure better than KFC.
Well, what was the other place in Norfolk?
In Norfolk? Oh, Raising Cane's. Now we're gonna get to that in a second.
Raising Cane's.
But yeah, Popeyes, can't go wrong with that 2-piece,
3-piece.
No. The tenders, yeah, but you can't go wrong with that 2-piece mixed. Get that breast and
mixed?
Then no, white. I'm sorry, 2-piece white. 2-piece white.
White. Oh,
get that breast and then get that fucking. I don't even know what the other piece is called, or the little.
It was a breast and like a wing.
Yeah, like a breast and a wing or something like that. No, a drumstick. Breast and a drumstick.
Drumstick.
Get that hot sauce on it, and then you got to get that red beans and the red beans and. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. The mash is crazy, but the red beans and rice is where it's at.
You're tweaking.
But now going to my number 2, I got Zaxby's, which is the best chicken spot to me. And those of y'all that say Raising Cane's, I know a lot of y'all ODU heads are going to be mad about this, but forget Raising Cane's. It's all about Zaxby's. Get that chicken finger plate combo. Them fries with that seasoning on them, them fries are different, dog. I'm telling you, them fries are where it's at.
I'm trying to hit Zaxby's right now.
I was going to say, we might have to go there after this.
After we record.
Exactly. Get that Zax sauce. Whew. Good God. Or you can get that wings and things combo. Man, you can't go wrong with Zaxby's. But what's up with your number 2, E?
Well, my top 2 are kind of top 2 for the same reason. I mean, all the food on here is actually, all the places on here have pretty crazy food, but my top 2 are really up here because of the deals, okay? So we got the Wendy's 4 for $4, all right? Now, all Wendy's I think is actually really good, but like Chad said before, I always thought the big problem was it was just too damn expensive. Like, you'd go there one time and spend like $9-10 just on yourself getting a meal, and it was like, I'm not trying to do all that, but you'd hit a 4 for $4, and I won't say it'll fill you up, but it'll definitely fill you up more than like a lot of other deals. Like if you go to McDonald's and get like 2 double cheeseburgers and a medium fry.
I'm gonna let y'all know right now. If you go ahead and get that 4 for $4 and then get that 50-cent small frosty to go with it, then you'll be set.
Exactly, and it's just like. And that deal is just literally insane. So that 4 for $4, will literally pick it up all the way to number 2 because its food was already good, but since it's got the price to go with it too, I mean that just makes it even better. And then number 1, got to be Cookout. Yeah, this is a unanimous decision. I was gonna say
this was number 1 for both of us easily.
God, Cookout. I mean, if you've never had a barbecue tray from Cookout,
you're not living.
Don't ever talk to me. Like seriously, like the barbecue. All right. Here's exactly what you're going to walk up there and you're going to order. Or drive up there and order, okay? You have a few options on the side, but you definitely have to get a barbecue tray, no coleslaw, with a huge T. But in the middle, it gets a little murky. You can either get fries, chicken.
Get them Cajun fries if you're gonna get fries.
Cajun quesadilla.
Crazy.
Okay, I just tried this yesterday. The chicken wrap, insane. The chicken wrap was literally crazy. I mean, it's small as hell, but it was still crazy.
I'm gonna let y'all know one thing that people sleep on. It's new. Those cheddar cheese bites, dog. I had them the first time I saw them on the menu. One of the people that worked there put me onto it. Shout out to whoever she is, because damn, that shit was good. So Cookout definitely won, and all the milkshakes.
Oh my god, banana berry milkshake, bro.
Ethan just put me onto the banana pudding milkshake, though. When you talk, that's the closest you're gonna get to that real banana pudding with those vanilla wafers on it.
God, that thing was crazy.
Like, dang, we might have to stop by Zaxby's and then roll through Cookout and get that milkshake to go with it.
And get a full 4.
Maybe not all that, but it's summertime. We got to get them bodies right. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and conclude the pod for today. Make sure y'all go ahead and let us know how y'all liked it.
Let us know what you want us to talk about, all right? Especially culture topics, because a lot of the times the sports topics are kind of self-explanatory, and they're kind of just what's going on in sports right now. But the culture topics, that can be anything, so let us know.
Yeah, please let us know. We love fan interaction. Like we said, we're going to post a link to our blog as well in the description or whatever. So, please just give us a rate and review or whatever, and just show us some love, and we appreciate y'all for listening.